Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We are your hosts, David O.
And Eric V.
Today we are joined in studio.
Whoa.
That's the first time for a while.
Yeah.
With our very good friend, Pat D. How you doing, man?
Wonderful. How's everybody?
Doing well,
Good.
man.
Good, you know.
Living the dream. You know?
Living the
Did you
dream.
stumble a little bit on that intro, David? You stumbled a
Where
little
are
bit
you
over
from,
your
Pat?
recovery?
Where are you from, Pat?
From Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. When were you first introduced to recovery?
2003, 2004. Yep.
And how long have you been clean?
I just celebrated 5 years.
Congratulations. I was there. You killed it. You did a great job.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. And with all that out of the way, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your experience, strength, and hope with us.
Cool.
Take it away, bud.
Yeah. So chime in whenever if you guys got any questions
Yeah, always.
or anything. But
Always. I'm just going to scribble here on my pad.
yeah. No. So my history, my story is pretty basic. Came from a good childhood. You know, good family. Mom would kind of let us just run the streets and everything. Back in the day, it was okay to do that. You know what I mean? Coming from where we came from. And
Once the
everything.
street lights came on, then you had to go home?
Yeah, it's time for dinner, this, that, and the other. And so no, I was big into skateboarding, BMXing and stuff like that. And and by the time I got to high school, it was one of those things where it was hey, you want to smoke some weed and skateboard? You know, and it was yeah. And I remember the first time I smoked weed, it slowed everything down for me. And I could see the skateboard tricks slowly underneath me, and I could land everything, right?
David doesn't understand this.
No.
I used to play sports high all the time. It's the
I was
coolest
useless.
thing ever.
I was useless.
It's everything slows down and you become awesome.
No.
Yeah.
I became
that was
shitty.
That was definitely my thing. I was I'd go through a loading dock or a set of steps, and I'd be kick flip, and I'd be ooh, and it'd go real nice and slow, and I could see my feet laying back on the board and just roll away from it. And
No.
but no, that's where it all started. But prior to that, I come from a family and they drink, or Irish Catholic,
Yeah.
pretty much, you know, and so Christmas parties, holidays, all that fun stuff, birthday parties, the whole family's drinking and whatnot.
What was your first drink?
What? I want to say, so there's a picture of me actually when I was 3, under the Christmas tree with a bunch of beer cans around me.
Hopefully you didn't drink all of them.
Yeah. No, so what it was is when my family would get low on their beverage, right? And it was typically beer. My uncle or whoever, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, "Oh, hey Patrick, I'll give you a quarter if you get me another beer," and they would always leave some in the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We used to call it the piss.
Oh,
the
yeah.
bottom
It's
bottom of the bottle.
gross.
And so okay, here you go, Uncle. Here's your new filled beverage. I'll take the old one for you, and on the way to the trash can, I'd just sip a little bit of it, and I'd make money in doing it too.
Yeah. There you go.
To a 6-7-year-old kid, 25 cents goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a penny store, or they used to sell penny candy back in the day, and I was yeah, let me get some of their Swedish fish. Let me get some Swedish fish. But no, from then on, it kind of just progressed. We got into the party, drugs and whatnot, the hallucinogens, the trips, the cocaine, all that type of stuff, and then I moved away to Florida when I was 17, and it just got crazier from there. To the point where I was literally having psychotic episodes. I was fainting and passing out, having seizures due to my active drug use and everything, and so I finally, after ran that into the ground after a year, I came back home, and so the addiction thing had really taken off while I was in Florida. There was my parents weren't there. I technically ran away from home. And so I'm down there unsupervised and whatnot, just going crazy, just partying, having a good time, thinking I'm doing what kids do. You know what I'm saying? And then when I came back home, I had sparked that addiction off.
Yep.
So coming here back to Baltimore's known for dope, heroin. And and I remember I went to work one day, and I broke my finger, and they literally like gave me, they were like, here's some ibuprofen 800s, you know what I'm saying? And I remember very clearly going to my boy's house later in the day, and I was complaining about my finger. Mm-hmm. And he at that time was on oxys, like heavy. And he's like, well, here, this will take the pain away.
Yeah.
He's like, just do a little bit of this, and it's like, ooh, like this is awesome. Mm-hmm. This is it, and that's where I found my drug of choice, which was heroin. Mm-hmm. You know, it led to it, and so from the age of like 18 all the way until I got clean, I believe I was 28 when I got clean. Yeah, man, lived my life $10 at a time, you know, for a decade. And in and out of treatment facilities, in and out of institutions, jails, multiple treatment centers, you know, tried the psychiatrist thing, tried the Suboxone, the methadone thing, tried everything. But you were asking about my introduction to recovery, right? And my path is NA. That's my path. There's many other paths, but that's the path that works for me. And I got introduced. I remember I got caught buying heroin downtown, West Baltimore, and they put me on a drug court program, and I was required to go to meetings and, you know, get the slip signed and this, that, and the other. And that's when I got introduced to recovery. As I said, it took me 10 years to get a year. You know what I mean? And this last time coming back in, I had developed many relationships over that 10 years because, like, even though 18 I caught my first charge, was brought to recovery. After that, I caught many more charges, and I was on paper, like probation or whatever, all the way up until literally just 2 years ago. And I didn't even know that I was
really
on probation, and I got a completion. Like,
for real?
I was like, whoa. I was like, I literally didn't even know I was on probation. Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. They sent me, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's crazy.
Did you owe any money or anything?
No, this one was unsupervised.
That's how high you were.
2 years unsupervised. Because like I made up this whole story, lied to a police officer, blah blah blah, whatever, you know how it goes.
Yep.
You know, active use. Made up this whole story about stolen car, and the reality of it was I rented a car for a drug dealer, and they were paying me with dope. And then, yeah. So it was actually kind of funny because I told the cop I was at like a Shell station, gas station, and I called it in because like the car was supposed to be back by a certain time on a certain day, and I told the dudes, I was like, look, I'm seriously, like, they're gonna start charging me for this, and like, if you don't have it back, like, I'm gonna report it stolen. So that's what I did. But I made up, like, instead of just like being honest, like I've ran with like this whole like plot in my mind, this whole story that like X, Y, and Z happened, and oh my gosh, like we were pumping the gas at the pump, and you know my girlfriend had the car, she was pumping the gas, and we left it running, and we went in to pay for the gas, came back out, I saw the car driving down the this whatever, crazy, right? And he's like, okay, that's cool. All right, well I got everything I needed from you. So now I'm going to go inside and check the surveillance footage. And it was like, yeah, I didn't run that one through.
Fuck.
Didn't think about that. Didn't think about, you know, surveillance footage, you know, being at a very popular gas station in town. And so he called me later. He said, well, good news is we got the car back. Bad news is you lied to me, and I'm charging you with lying to a police officer. False statement to an officer. Anyway, shortly after that, I got clean, went to court. Had probably like 2 months when I went to court, and yeah, and they placed me on unsupervised probation. Now for somebody who's been in the system for...
Is that your most bullshit charge?
No, I've had like attempt to possess drugs,
attempt to possess?
Attempting to possess, yeah.
How do you get that charge?
That's pretty much just saying, you know, you're in a neighborhood you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty much all it is.
That's a charge?
It's a charge. It's a walkthrough down at central bookings and everything, but yeah, it's a charge. But
do you have any bullshit charges, Eric?
I have a trespassing charge that won't go away.
Oh, because that's a civil citation.
It's also like it has something to do with like federal. like being on like a state park.
Oh.
So it's like a different department, and as much as I've tried to expunge it, it's on my record forever.
Yeah, I have two civil citations that I can't get expunged. One is a drinking underage, and the other one is a fireworks charge.
My drinking went away, but my trespassing charge at Tapsco State Park will always be there.
Mine,
It's been like 15 years.
yeah, mine was so fucked up because I got my drinking citation 60 days before I turned 21, but I didn't go to court until after I was 21. So it gets kept on my fucking. It's fucking nonsense.
Yeah, I had a pretty hefty record. There was probably like 16, 17 charges when I got clean, and my wife, she cleaned up what she could. She got like she got them down to like 4 or 5, and there's like 4 or 5 that gotta like come off like in order, like craziness, stupid stuff.
Yeah, there's like time restraints and all that shit.
Just dumb shit. It is what it is. I mean, it's wreckage of the past. You know what I mean? It's something that that I accept and I deal with. It is what it is. It's not holding me back from anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're all misdemeanor charges. They're all minor, stupid offenses. But like, unfortunately, they have to come off due to time restraints, just like you said. But back to like the false statement to an officer thing. That was funny. I had a couple months clean when I went to court, and and every other time I go to court, right, I'd either ask for the time, because most of the time I'd be in there on a violation, and it's like, oh, just give me the time now, because all you're gonna do if you put me back on probation, you're just prolonging me going to jail. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to violate your probation. I'm gonna give you a dirty urine, and I'm gonna come back before you, and you're just gonna throw me in jail. Like, so just give me the time, whatever. But like this time, I like went in there and I didn't have any representation. Normally I'd have like a public defender. In the very beginning, catching charges at an early age, I had mom and dad on my side. Mm-hmm. They would like get me the good lawyer, and like I'd beat the charge, PBJ, like community service and stuff like that. But then the pattern started picking up to where I was catching charges regularly, and it was like, my parents noticed that, and they were like, "Okay, look, like you're on your own.
You're on your own, bud.
You're on your own with this shit. Like you're not going to bankroll us into this mess." So like this time when I went back clean, I went before the judge and I told the truth. I was like, yeah, I was fucked up. I was bad off on drugs and everything. I made up this whole thing, and I'm willing to accept the consequences of my actions. And she said, well, looking at your record, you're definitely coming in my courtroom today like different, because of course it was a judge that I've been in front of before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I can see the change in you. She's like, how much, and I told her I was in a recovery house at the time, practicing a program of recovery, this, that, and the other. And like, I was clean like 3 months, and she was like proud of that. Yeah. Like knowing me and knowing who like I had been in the past, like this is somebody completely transformed and like different, even at 3 months clean. And, so she took a shot in the dark. She gave me unsupervised probation. So that's when I got the letter a few years ago. Like I was like
completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, because of somebody who's like I was saying before, somebody who's been on paper their entire adult life. If you get unsupervised anything, like that's nothing. Mm-hmm. Like you don't even think about it.
No,
you're like,
no,
y'all fucked up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like.
You
unsupervised,
skated.
that's nothing.
Yeah, you skated.
Like it's literally, I skated. Y'all slapped me on the wrist. Big whoop. So it was, it was funny. It was like, wow, I got that certificate of completion or whatever they call it, and then like,
just like frame it.
I was like, wow, like unsupervised or not, like I just went 2 years without like any charges or any, new drug offenses, anything like that. It was pretty cool, man. Like having that feeling like, wow, I really did this. Because before I would try to dope fiend them, I try to play the, the day game, as I called it. 3 days you're clean. You know what I mean? So if I have to see my PO on Thursday, that means Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can get high. But then I got to stop because I need Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to get clean, to piss clean on Thursday. And I would play that game. But like it never ever worked.
No.
You know, so like it would come down Thursdays here, and I'm like, oh my God.
I got high 8 hours ago.
Yeah, like I'm high now. So it's like, shit, like I gotta go see my PO right now. So then it comes in making a phone call.
Urinators.
My car broke down.
The Wizinator,
You know,
right?
yeah, my car broke down. Having a Visine bottle of somebody else's piss taped to your dick.
I
Like-
used to supply people clean
Yes.
piss, actually, in
Like
early recovery.
craziness,
Yeah.
man, craziness. All to like,
Really?
all to like cover it up, man. And it was
This was like 8 years ago, David.
Okay. Well, then I'm shaking my head at that 8 years. 8 years ago, I'm shaking.
I was
my head
helping
right
Pat out, man.
it's
you
a
know
good
what I
business
mean?
to be in.
Yeah.
now. Jesus.
You can make some good money off some clean urine in early recovery.
yeah, yeah, man. But it was
It's not spiritual, but
It was crazy, man.
Definitely not.
Crazy. I'm talking like this my last run. You know, I remember being on the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've heard my story. Abandoned truck on the side of the road. You know, it's not my
Yeah.
truck. I'm sleeping in it on the street in the middle of winter 2014. And it was like one of the coldest winters on record in like 100 fucking years.
Yeah.
It was cold.
And
Yeah, it was fucking pretty.
and I can just remember like waking up one day like dope sick as fuck, and the truck was like covered in like 9 inches of snow, and I was like frozen, literally, like I couldn't move, and I was like, how in the fuck?
Am I alive?
Like, not only am I alive, but how the fuck did I wind up here again? Like, you know what I mean? Because like I've been introduced to recovery. You know, I've seen the change in people's lives, like due to work in a program of recovery. Like, and I'm talking like people that have come before me, people have come after me, and like people that I used with, like friends of mine, like that in my eyes went harder than I did.
Anybody that we know?
Of course,
Who?
huh?
You can drop a first name.
There's Bruce, Justin. There's a bunch of them, man. A bunch of them. Ian. There's a whole rack of people that I used to use with that are clean.
You used with Justin?
Yeah, Justin. Yeah, Justin's one of my best friends. Yeah, we
I
grew
didn't
up
know
together.
you used together.
Yeah, actually, drugs saved my life one time because I was selling coke at the time, and he wanted one more, and I was selling it to him like all night, and he wanted one more, and I was like, okay, look, meet me at my parents' house, and I had been up doing it all night while I'm selling it.
Of course.
And so I told him slide through, you know what I mean? Just come to my parents' house, hit me when you're here, I'll run it out, whatever. And but I was like Jones, like I was like geeking hard as shit when I got home. And so like my first, like I'm like I gotta come down, right? So like I railed like 2 Xanax, and I ate 2,
Those are always
and
bad, yeah.
and it didn't touch me, like it didn't phase me at all. So I slammed 2 pills of dope, and I OD'd. I went out. And so here he comes. I'm not answering my phone, but he wants one more. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and he pounds on my door at my parents' house. And like my vehicle's out front, my light's on in my bedroom, but like the way that my room was set up, like I was on the one side of my bed that if you walked in my room, you couldn't see me, right? And I was out on the floor, but like thank God he did knock on the door, because if I didn't answer the phone, like I probably wouldn't be here with you guys, because he would never woke my parents up for them to find me. So like it's like one of the stories. It's like, okay, well drugs actually saved my life one time.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy story because I was like out cold.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
And like, you know, my parents had to like bring me back and everything, and yeah, that was. I think I was in rehab like the next day or something.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I believe
Because,
that.
you know, and not by my doing, obviously, because I've gone to treatment handfuls of times. Like when I say handfuls of times, like I can't even, like I can count on both hands and both feet, and would need an extra hand to tell you how many times I went. And always for the wrong reasons. Always for the wrong reasons. You know, until this last time in 2015, like I wanted to go, and I was ready for a change, and I was willing at this time to do anything that it was that I had to, you know, for me. And I remember like being in treatment, and I remember being in treatment, and like I was there for like two days or something, and I was like, you know what? every time I come through here, even like going to city jail, like they'll put you on methadone, like some detox medication, right? And I remember like they make it so easy. You know, like you don't feel shit. Like when you're on buttes or when you're on, you know, meth or whatever, you don't feel any of the hard withdrawals. It's like they make it so comfortable. So like I had this bright idea that I was going to refuse my medication, right?
Dude.
And
Dude, why'd you do
so,
that, man?
so like the second day, like they were doing Medline, and I go up to the window and I'm like, hey, I don't want none. And they were like, haha, yeah, funny, here you go. You know, you had like one of the highest levels of heroin in your body when you came in, like you're joking, right? And I was like, no. Because like I wanted to feel it. You know what I'm saying? My mentality was like, okay, let me feel this, because like every other time, like I'm ill for like, you know, an hour or two before like I hustle some, you know, $10 up to like get something to get well again. And so like they were like, oh, you're like serious? And I was like, yeah, no, I want to feel all this shit. I want to be able to remember it. So if when I leave here and I have that thought of using, I can reflect back on the experience of what it is really like to come off the shit, and maybe that'll change my mind about using.
Wait, haven't you illed before, like
Yeah.
off, like completely off though? Like you've withdrawn the whole way through without meds though before, right?
Yes.
You just wanted to go through it again?
Well, I wouldn't say the whole way, because there was always something.
Okay.
There was always something. So I would try it, right, like on my own. And I'm saying, okay, this is it. I'm done, right? Like, and most of the time when I say, all right, this is it, I'm done, it was like literally when I have exhausted every other avenue in order to get one more.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like, all right, this is it. This is
fuck
the
this
time.
shit.
This is the time. You know, time to start living life and be a man. You know what I mean? Like, and then
This is God's way of telling me.
And then my phone would ring and somebody be like, hey, listen, I got $20, but no ride. Can you ride me? I'll buy you one. I'll get one. And it's like, you know, all that shit about me. This is the time to get clean.
Yeah.
You know, and like that shit was out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There were like a few times, you know, where I did get locked up in central booking, and like, you know, I'd be there for less than 24 hours, and you know, I get like recogged or whatever, and but like as soon as I got back out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on, you know, so it was like never have I ever gone through a full detox.
It's
Never.
the worst.
Never have I ever. And so like this time I was like, you know, we're going to do this thing. And so they made me sign a piece of paper in the med line, like saying, oh, he refuses meds. So like, but sure as shit enough, like come like evening meds, I was like ready to beat down that window. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Give me something. And they're like, nah, like you disrupted the whole detox process. Like, no, like you signed a paper. Like, nah, you're done. And so like, I remember very, very, very clearly being in my room, and one minute I'd be on the bed under the covers. The next minute I'd be sprawled out on the tile floor in the bathroom because I'm sweating, you know, and then I'd be cold again. And then I'd say, oh, a hot shower will help. And then I'm in the shower and I'm turning it from hot to cold, and, you know, not being able to sleep for like 2 weeks, like just craziness, man. And I remember that very, very vividly, very clearly. So my thought process, because I can still remember to this day, and it's something that I don't ever want to experience again. And so it's, so I guess the idea of it did work. Because I can still reflect back on that at any given time. Now, the obsession to use is far gone. It was lifted probably, I'd say, 4 or 5 months. I remember I was in the recovery house, and I laid my head down at night, and for some reason, I was like, wow, I didn't think about using it all today. You know, like, not once. And like my job, like I work in the city a lot, so I'm around it. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It's always going to be there. But like even like being in the bad parts of the city where they're giving out testers or they're hitting on the corner over here and whatever. I mean, early on, man, I just remember it being lifted, and I didn't, and there was no desire. There was no desire. You know what I mean? There was a lot of evidence in my life early on, and I put a lot of things in position. Like I made a lot of decisions and a lot of moves that aren't really recommended for people in early recovery. But like I put these things in position, like these big boy moves to like, for me at the time. So if I thought about using or if I wanted to use, like I would look at, I would remember the detox, and then I would look at my truck. I would look at my kid, or I would look at, the business or something. I'd be like, all right, I have all this shit and it's all going to go in a cooker. You know what I'm saying? So like putting those things in position kind of like gave me, I guess, the oomph
Yeah.
to like move forward. And like I said, the desire to use, the obsession to use, like was lifted 4 or 5 months, somewhere around there. And it's just, it's still an uphill battle. Not necessarily with the drugs, because, we hear it all the time. The drugs are just a symptom of the disease. This is a mind thing and a feelings thing, a behavior thing. So like there's still some old behaviors, and, the program of recovery that I work, we write on steps, and every other time writing on those steps, like prior to like honestly writing on them, like I hated it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, this is bullshit. This is homework. I don't enjoy this. Like nothing's changing. But like coming into, when you come to a place that your desire to stay clean outweighs your desire to use, your mindset changes. You know what I'm saying? Your mindset changes. So like coming into doing like step work this time, like I had to open mind, and I was like willing to do it. So I did it, and then, I didn't really notice much change, except for like how I saw things. But like I want to say like after 4 or 5 is when like it was like clearly evident that my life was changing, and it was changing for the better. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those, old behaviors, old mentalities were like going away. And they say like, oh, you'll change without your permission. And like, I never understood that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yep. But like experiencing it, like working through all of the steps and starting over, and like it's clearly evident. Like, it's like, now I'm the one that's like, oh, you will change without your permission. And like newcomers and people come and they're like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's like, nah, just hold on, bro.
Yeah.
Just hold on.
It's almost like accidental recovery.
Yeah.
Like you're not, like you do shit just like a normal person should be fucking, you're just living like everybody else. And then you're like, oh wait, I wouldn't have done that before, but now I'm just doing it naturally.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. That's the way up and out. It really is. And like I have like sponsees, like guys that like I mentor and like help. You know what I mean? And like I tell them all the time, because they'll come at me with some like crazy shit, crazy ideas, crazy hate, like whatever. And I'm like, bro, the steps, you'll find it. Trust me. The answer that you were looking for, you will find it in the steps. And it's like, and that applies to everything in life, literally. Everything in my life, at least. It has applied to like one point. So it's like, I try to push it. I don't push it on them, but I'm just like, throw it out. Hey, what's up with that step work, bro?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then like I see a reflection of myself in them, and not even just my sponsees, just like newcomers, other people in recovery. You know what I'm saying? Like I came around for 10 years before I put one foot in front of the other. You know what I mean? Before I took one step in the right direction, I was here for a decade.
Yeah.
And so like I try to like respect their process. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, my process is my process, their process is theirs. So it's like I can tell them all about the delights and all the, everything great about this and that. But like at the end of the day, like I have no control over what they do with, what I'm telling them. And so it's like the whole like leading a horse to water type deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like in their time, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the fucked up thing about like today is, if that whole like, oh, they'll get it in their time. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't get their turn.
Nowadays,
they don't ever reach. They don't ever reach that time. You know what I'm saying? Because like when I got clean, the drugs were different than they are today.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I came out like I got clean right before that fentanyl shit came out, and like I thank God for it all the time. You know, like thank God, because like I could have gotten stuck on that very, very easily, just like I was stuck on everything else that came out prior.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, a new drug, like a new, and it's in the category of my drug of choice.
Yeah.
You know, and the way that I use, man, like I wouldn't have made it out. Trust and believe that. Like I know, like I got clean the day before I was supposed to die. You know, like that's the way I look at it. Like every single time, like I think about it. Yeah, I don't play with this thing anymore. We were just talking about that, David. You know, like if somebody wants to continue to use, if they want to do it, like it's their choice. Like, hey,
Yep.
that's for that ain't for
That's
me
for you.
anymore. Like
Nope.
you can have that shit.
Nope.
Like my life experience prior to getting clean, like I've lived that and I know it very well. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that on a regular basis, and that's something that I never ever want to go back to. You know, I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't wish it on anybody. Fuck that.
Yep.
Straight up. Like fuck that. For real.
All right.
Cool.
We got some questions for you.
Yeah.
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 Q&A,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah. Fuck.
You gonna dance around over there? What are you doing?
You go first.
All right. I'm gonna just stick on steps today.
All right.
So,
That's easy.
yeah, you know, I wanted to listen to the speaker tonight. You know, like
I was listening.
Yeah.
That's why I have so many questions.
So I guess let's start with step one and kind of just go with something we usually ask as you're vaping. How has addiction manifested itself in your life since entering recovery? And I guess, like, how have you applied the first step to those behaviors? And, like, where have you seen success and where have you seen failures?
So yeah, the manifestation of the disease of addiction, you know, because it's a very broad.
Yeah, man.
It comes from a very broad stance, right? So like you hear addiction, you know, it's not just drugs.
No.
You know, it could be eating, sex, gambling, shopping. You know,
Coffee, cigarettes,
coffee,
Red Bull.
cigarettes, vaping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Podcasts.
Yes, it's
All
true.
day.
It's true.
All day.
Eric
I mean,
makes me do it.
it could be anything, and like the thing about it is like it's just for me, it's literally taking something or buying something or using something or whatever to change the way I feel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I've been very blessed in my recovery. Financially, I'm doing all right, and so like we were just talking about travel. You know, I like to spend money.
As you're wearing your Adidas full tracksuit.
Yeah, I found this by accident. Actually.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, oh, I forgot I had these pants. Oh, I have a shirt
And
Oh,
shoes.
Didn't I just get a new pair of Adidas shoes too? I think they're down in the basement. What color are they? I wonder. Oh, it matches too. That's awesome. But yeah, no shopping, and so here's the thing with a lot of my behaviors. Okay, so the way I look at a behavior. You know, some people might say it's negative. I might say it's positive. But, like, at the end of the day, like, for me, if it's causing pain in my life, you know, like, I will eventually, hopefully, come to a point to where that pain, you know, is enough for me to change that behavior.
Yep.
So, and I've experienced that in recovery. You were asking about that. But, like, just say something, like for me, right? I have a huge problem with shoes. Huge problem. I'm talking.
I've heard.
I'm talking.
For real?
I've
I'm
heard.
talking. I have 80, 90 pair of shoes, brand new in the box.
You're a sneakerhead?
Yes. I wouldn't call myself a sneakerhead. I would just call myself a collector. There's a big difference.
Is there?
There's a big
I would
difference.
love to get further into this.
Yeah. So
sneakerheads.
sneakerheads know all the philosophy.
Yeah, they know everything.
Philosophy behind the sneakers. They can name the sneakers. Like, look, I see a sneaker. I'm like, I like new sneakers, and I buy them. So like I would say I'm more of like a collector. Like not anything in particular, but like but that to me is not a negative behavior because it doesn't impact my livelihood. It doesn't impact, it's not like I'm like, "Oh my god, should I pay the water bill?" Or, "Oh my god,
get these new Air Force Ones.
They just dropped the new Jordans." So, I'm not like taking away from like my daily necessities to like, I'm not picking a pair of sneakers over feeding my family.
No, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It's more like, does the collection eventually become hoarding? That's like the fine line, I guess, of collecting things where you're like, all right, so when does it become unmanageable? Because I used to be a collector, and then I went to the total opposite spectrum to minimalism.
Sold everything.
I sold everything. I sold almost everything.
You had
Why didn't I know you then?
Dude, I sold so much. Like I went on eBay and essentially sold like probably 85% of what I owned.
You had every single system, all like shit tons of games.
And it could be a phase that I'm going through. It could be a phase that I'm going through too. I might leave here tonight and like wake up tomorrow and be like, "What the fuck do I need all these goddamn shoes for?"
It could be.
Like, let me talk to Eric about how he unloaded his vest.
eBay. You could probably, but the way you could do it is through Poshmark, because you probably actually have like good clothes. Yeah, I mean good shoes. Like the sneaker community is crazy. I've read a lot about it. It fascinates me.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is crazy.
Collection communities are great. They're like, it's so cool.
Now, like you were talking about, like step one and like
man, like
the major.
Like you probably had an energy drink.
The major,
right?
I did.
Yeah. So like, how did you get past that?
How did I get past that? I don't even know how I got past that. I mean, I know that in the very beginning, I've had the same job since I was 17 years old, 18 years old, right? So like, with my experience in that field, very easy for me to get a job. So like, I could literally come from jail, I could come out of treatment, and like, it was very simple for me to get a job. And so like, early on in recovery, like, come out of treatment and I'm like, "Oh, look, I have a job. Look, I have a pocket full of money. Let me walk into Rural Farms and get the Red Bulls because they were like 2 for $5.55 or something, whatever." You know what I'm saying? But old behaviors, right? I take 2 up to the counter. They go to check me out, and I'd be like, "Oh, I left my wallet at home," right? Now damn well I had $400 in my pocket, right? So what I would do is I would say, "Oh, I'll put these back for you," right? On my way to put it back, I'd open it, put one in my pocket, walk out. So I just steal a Red Bull, because of the old behaviors, because that's all I knew. You know what I'm saying?
It's also a rush, though, right? Like you're also looking for that rush of like copping something real quick, like getting away with that. Like, you don't need it. Right, you could have paid for it, but just knowing, like, getting that little bit of adrenaline, like, I might get caught.
Exactly. I mean, it was down to like when I came in, I was I was a smoker. I smoked cigarettes and stuff, and like literally just throwing, like, when I'd open a new pack of cigarettes and take the cellophane off the top of it, I would just throw it right out the window, like, and I'd find myself like, "Oh my god, that was so wrong," and that's like changing without your permission type deal, right? But like,
I'm a litter bug.
But like with the step one, like the major spiritual principle in step one is the acceptance. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, well, like, I know that I don't have to steal this. So like, I'm accepting that, I am doing wrong. I'm clarifying to myself that I'm doing wrong. And like, I would change that behavior. So like the very next time, maybe not the next time, maybe within 10 times of doing it, I started to develop a conscience, right? And that goes to throwing the cellophane out the window or stealing a Red Bull or a Monster or whatever. And it's like, okay, you know what? Like, this is not good. Because, like, here I am. I'm supposed to be, like, clean, a different person, changing my ways and everything. And I'm like, and I'm not. And for coming around for so long, even though most of the time I would come into a meeting and I would, like, nod out, or I'd meet the drug dealer in the parking lot, I did listen. I developed relationships and everything, and like I was aware enough to realize that the behaviors is one of the is like the main leading factor in what takes people back out. Yeah, and so it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, I'm out here stealing. I'm living off of old behaviors. Like, holy shit! Like, I better
Yeah.
So like fear like steps in, you know, and like now here I am like worried I'm gonna get locked up, or like worried because like, you know, I'm stealing, like it's gonna fuck with my head so much that the only way that I know to cover that up is by using, you know, and so like I slowly but surely like started changing that. And littering, that's a huge thing. I will not litter.
Good.
Like I will
awesome.
not do it.
Yep.
If I see somebody throw some shit out their window, I mean, there was one time I was on Bel Air Road and we were at a stoplight and somebody literally threw like a whole bunch of shit out, like a bag of trash. Like I'm talking like a grocery bag of trash out the fucking window. I put my truck in park. I walked right up to their window. I picked it up and I threw it back in their fucking car. It's like, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know? Had like 6 months clean. Just stopped littering like 2 days before. You know what I mean? But no, going back to your question, Eric, about you know, practicing that step. Like one of the big things for me, like early on, was like using women, sex. You know, and I had the experience of, through my 10 years of being in, you know, introduced to recovery, like I had spouts. I had little bouts of like getting clean, you know, 30 days, 90 days, you know, whatever. And like I remember the one time, like that's what took me back out, because like I was in a relationship and I was like running around. And like I remember just feeling like such a piece of shit, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop chasing after the girls, and it was very difficult for me at the time. And I'm talking, this is 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
But I came to a point where I was just like, I walked into a meeting one day and like I had like slept with like every girl in the front row. You know what I'm saying? And like they all like turned around, because you know when like you walk into a meeting, like if anybody's in there, like everybody in the meeting is like, oh, who just walked in the fucking door?
Yeah.
And so it was like they all like turned and they all looked at me, and I was just like,
You just hit the U-turn.
oh, they all know about me. You know, they all are talking about it and this and that. And I was like, you know, fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna go get high, because like I felt so uncomfortable, so awkward, and it was like one of those things where like I couldn't, like I said, it was just like the drug, man. I couldn't stop. It was an unhealthy behavior. I knew I was doing wrong. I just couldn't stop. And so like that drove me back out. So like that's another thing that like I had to work on when I got clean. And so like yeah, that's one of the areas in my life that it caused, you know, some pain and havoc, and I made it through it. You know what I mean? So step one, man, my sponsor always tells me, you know, I'll call him and I'll be like, hey man, like this fucking asshole today at work today, like he beat me up on my price when I gave him the bill and blah blah blah, and he's like, step one. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck your step one.
I'm like, fuck you. Like, I need a co-signer to, like, kick this motherfucker in the neck. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, man. Like, why you telling me to practice some acceptance, bro? It's funny, man. He always resorts everything back to step one. But the reality of it is, like, practice step one every day in everything you do. You know what I'm saying? Your life will go a little bit smoother. It'll go, you'll have a little bit more of understanding. You know, that whole powerless piece, man. That works wonders. Even though it sucks.
Yeah.
Being powerless. Like, powerlessness is a painful thing to experience.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you come around
But it's
here.
uplifting.
It is. But when you come around here and you develop relationships with people, and, like, you know, like, they're involved with your recovery and you're involved with their recovery, and, like, you know their family and they know you and they play with your kids and everything, and then they wake up one day and they make a different decision. You know, in that situation, you're powerless. And it's painful because you can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a two-way street.
Yes.
You know, but like I got that experience like early on. I can't think of the exact scenario of that, but I do remember like very clearly telling myself like, holy shit, powerlessness, like that shit is actually, that can be painful.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, it is what it is, man. People are responsible for their own recovery. I can literally only do what I can do for me.
Yep.
But the one thing that I do know is that in staying in a position of recovery, like I am broadcasting myself and what recovery is.
You
on
literally are
others.
right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. for others to see. You know what I'm saying? For others to hear. And like it's a shot of hope, man, when like I see one of my old using buddies like roll on in, you know, and they like walk with me and they're like, holy shit, like I didn't even recognize you. And like, and then they're like, man, you went hard, man. Like if you can fucking do it, like, bro, I can too, you know. And I see it, man, and it's a beautiful thing seeing like people grow in the recovery process. You know what I'm saying? It's a wonderful thing, and you know, I'm just like eternally grateful for like my life today, like me making the decisions, you know, that led up to, you know, getting clean and everything, and it's something that I don't take for granted, but I will tell you that I can act very ungrateful at times.
We all can.
You know what I'm saying?
We're fucking humans.
I can act very ungrateful, and I can kind of stray away from the path a little bit. My wife just the other day was like, you need to go to a fucking meeting. You know, and I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you need to go to a meeting. You know, and like I feel when I don't go to meetings, not I don't feel it as much as like when I'm not in the steps, right? Because like I'm huge on the steps. I'm huge in writing on the steps. So like just say like I have like a shitty week at work, right? And I'm batshit crazy, and I come home and my wife recognizes it, and like my kids recognize it and everything, and like then finally I recognize it if she doesn't or somebody else doesn't point it out to me, and then I realize I'm like, wow, I haven't wrote on a step in like 3 weeks. So like once I dive into it and I just, you know, write a few things down, answer a few questions, man, it's like it like brings me back down to ground. You know what I'm saying? And it like reboots me. And then like, you know, go to a meeting, and that helps too. And it's like everybody that comes through my phone outside of like clients, it's in recovering. You know what I mean? You know, making that change from, because see, I kept my same number when I got clean.
Oh yeah,
when I got clean.
I was like, what?
I did not.
Right? And so everybody's like, change that number, because I was getting the text like, like, oh god, fucking 5 for 40 all day long, guys. You know, like, hey, teeing off and fucking blah blah blah, and blah. You know, it's just like, and like I texted, and like I was like texting back. I was like, you have the wrong number, or they call and be like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Blah 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 blah. And like I would change my voice, and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. like you have to delete this number. Like, no, that's not me. And like slowly but surely, man, like the phone calls stopped coming in, and now it's strictly, it's like it's my business line. You know what I mean? And craziness.
Yep.
Craziness. Everybody told me, change your fucking number, bro.
All right.
Change your number.
I got one for you. How? It's between two. How do you challenge yourself in recovery? Because like after we've been here for a while, we can get into routine, which can be good, can be bad. Like sometimes that routine can get boring, and like it's just the same monotonous kind of shit. And then you add that with the monotony of work life and all that. How do you go outside of what you normally do to really like challenge yourself and really give yourself that new shot that you need? So I stay active in service work. That's definitely a huge thing of mine. So I always answer to that. Every month I answer to the service work. That helps me greatly. Like I can't see myself any time in the immediate near future or in the future like giving up that commitment. Because that's one of the things that like keeps me like very grateful. Yeah. As far as like challenging myself, we can get stagnant even in the meetings. Yeah. Because like 100%. It's literally the same people, the same meetings, the same place. Yes. Yep. Every day. Right. So like one of the things that I do is like I'll go to a different area. You know, and I love doing that. And in doing that, you meet different people, you hear different people's stories, you see new faces, you see new meeting places, and you know, your circle grows. Yep. You know what I mean? And I love it because when I'm like, okay, look, because I have to force myself to go to meetings. Yeah. Sometimes, right?
Oh yeah.
If I'm in town,
Eric doesn't understand.
If I'm in town, because I travel a lot on the weekends. Yeah. I'm at my home group. You know what I mean? So like I know like I'll be at my home group, but like that's not enough for me. That's my home group. That's where I serve. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I kind of it's a meeting, but I don't look at it as a meeting like for a better lack of a term. So like I'll challenge myself to like literally, all right, Tuesday I'm going to a meeting. You know what I'm saying? And then like I'm like Tuesday comes and I'm like, okay, I'm going to a meeting, and I'm going to a meeting. What meeting's tonight? And then like I'm like, oh well, there's the 7:30 around the corner. There's the 10 o'clock. Like
The circle meeting.
Yeah,
I'm going to the circle meeting.
What's
and then
easy?
I'm like, fuck this, I ain't going to meeting tonight. Like I'm not trying to see them people. I'm gonna know the speaker.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be the same old song and dance with everybody, with what they're going, you know, whatever. So like I'll go down to like the Bay Area, or like I'll go over like to the East Side, or I'll go up to like Westminster, or like wherever, man. I'll just go somewhere different, and like that excites me. You know, it like re-energizes that little like spark in recovery again. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going
Makes
to
you
a
feel
new
like
place.
a newcomer again a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
ooh,
and then and like I used to not, when they would say, "Is there anybody new to this meeting?" or blah blah blah, like I would be like hide. I didn't want to.
I know,
I
because
didn't
in
want
5
anybody.
years clean, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm new.
no.
Because then everybody's like, oh, here, keep coming back. It's like, I got 5 years, fuck
I'm
off.
talking about the beginning, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I'd be like, no, I don't want people to know I'm here. I don't want people to see me. Like I don't want the spotlight on me. But like now, if I'm like in a new meeting in a new area and like nobody knows me, like I'm like proud as shit. I'm like, my name's Pat, blah blah blah. You know, like it. Like it excites me. You know what I'm saying? Because like it opens the door for communication.
Yeah.
From other people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because like 9 times out of 10, you go to a meeting, you say you're new, somebody's gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
and then it's cool. You know, I jive with people, and then I get people's numbers, and then you know develop that relationship with them, and it's a cool thing, man. Recovery's awesome. Recovery's awesome. I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to stay on this side of the fence than it was the other side.
Yep.
Like for real. It is it's a journey, man. It's a journey. You know, living life on life's terms, man. It's crazy, man. Adulting. You know what I mean?
Ugh. Can I have a follow-up question, Eric? Ma'am.
Sure.
Yes.
Go ahead, David.
Yes. All right. So, what recovery tools have you found outside of Narcotics Anonymous?
I love how you take all of my
Outside?
questions.
Ooh, yeah.
You take all of my
You took
questions.
my first one, you fuck.
I made that question.
You didn't make that question.
I did make that
No.
question.
God made that
So
question.
what was the question again? How do I? What do I?
What tools have you found outside of NA
Okay.
to use?
So I'm a musician. You know what I mean? You know, recently, you know, I've been playing since I was young. I picked up, you know, guitar and a bass and the drums and whatever. So like, anyway, like when I got clean, like drums was like my thing. You know what I'm saying? And like it has been. So like within the past year, I like started taking drum lessons. Right?
Oh, really?
And so I look forward to that, and it's like an escape for me because like literally I have my routine like every day. And my wife will tell you, like I come home, you know, most days around like 2, 3 o'clock, go straight down into my man cave, and I play my drums for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. And then immediately following that, I play hard, right? So now I'm out of breath and I gotta like relax. So then I go over and I sit down and I play my video game. Right? And like about like halfway like through playing my video game, like I'll hear like the kids running across the floor upstairs, and I'm like, all right, well she's home. Like, and that's like my unwind. You know, it's like I do it. I literally every day go downstairs, play my drums, play my Xbox. You know, unwind from the day, and that's been my thing for a long time. You know, that's one thing. I also travel. I travel a lot. I'm just trying to think of like things that like take, you know, like outside of recovery that takes my mind away. That's therapeutic for me. You know, I'm a snowboarder. You know, my wife likes the beach. So I travel to the beaches a lot. And I travel out west to go snowboarding a lot because literally when I'm like snowboarding like 50 miles an hour down a mountain, like,
Oh yeah.
trust me, I'm not like thinking about anything.
Yeah.
Except not running into a fucking tree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like one of the things, man, it just takes me like completely away from reality. And it's one of my favorite things to do. I do it, 3, 4, 5 times a year, when it's in season. I love it. But sometimes we'll just, just things that give me a silence, man, just like taking the kids to the park. You know what I mean? And my wife does it more than I do. But like when I do go, it's like just seeing the kids like run around, man. There's 3 of them, so it's like seeing them all run around, and then the boys like, I want to swing, and like put him in a swing and pushing him in a swing and just seeing him like smiling and everything, man. It's a good joy, man. It's a blessing to be able to experience that. You know what I mean? It's completely different.
Yeah.
I
can fucking imagine.
When I got clean, I didn't have my kids in my life. State of Maryland was involved. You know what I mean? Social services was involved.
Oh yeah.
It was like a whole thing, and so to know how it was and how it is today, man. There's like a lot of blessings and a lot of gifts of recovery. That
How often do you
staying clean.
How often do you have like the oh shit moment, like that you're just like, how the fuck did I get here?
Pretty regularly.
Me too.
Pretty regularly.
Me fucking too.
Yeah, it's just like I mean, like I've had many blessings, and it's just like me and my wife like bought a house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like dumb shit. Like, when the bank increases your credit limit,
Yeah.
You're like,
How the fuck did this
these
happen?
motherfuckers just raised my credit limit to $42,000. It's like, wow. Like, don't they know who the fuck I am? Like, don't they know that I will literally burn all of that up in no time on gift cards and sell them for half to the drug dealers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man. A lot of those like moments. There's holy shit. I mean, like, my wife, man, she's fucking beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I literally joke with her all the time. Like, why the fuck are you with me?
Dude, do you ever ask your wife that?
Like, why are you with me? And she's
Okay.
like,
That's just us two then.
Yeah, it is.
Because I ask Kristen that all the fucking
like,
time. I'm like, why the fuck did you marry me?
And it comes back to, it comes back to me, like, still, like, having, like,
That's Eric's
insecurities.
ego. He's like, I know why you married
For me, it's, like, insecurity still, self-doubt and everything. But she tells me all the time, man. She tells me all the time. She's like, you're an amazing person. She's like, I want to see myself with anybody else in this life.
I still can't hear that shit. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
You're like, lies.
Yeah.
Lies. All lies.
What have you got, Eric?
So, just I do kind of want to stick up to the relationship thing, but did I also hear you have a urinal in your man cave? Did I see something or hear something about that at one point?
I do. I have like a commercial bathroom in my basement. In my man cave. It's in my man cave.
That's kind of amazing.
Well, I'm a plumber and HVAC
So it
guy
helps.
by trade.
It helps.
So I can do it.
You can do it, yeah. So,
But I do. Yeah.
all right. So you're married to someone who's in recovery.
I am.
So am I. And that can present certain challenges, but also has certain benefits. What are some of the benefits and challenges you've seen?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say for me in my relationship, like there's not too many challenges, but the benefits of it is that she'll just straight pull me the fuck up on my shit. She'll just pull me up.
Oh, and she's that type too.
Yeah,
That's all I love
she's
about your
that
wife.
type.
Your wife
She's
is
that
the
type.
shit.
That's my wife. She's amazing. She's awesome. But no, man, like having somebody that understands is awesome. Because like I couldn't even like imagine like myself like being like married or even in a relationship with like a normal person.
Oh, okay. Why'd you look at me? Why'd you look at me? Okay.
I'm talking about me, David.
Yeah, all right.
Because it's like one of those things is like I couldn't even imagine like the first conversation you would have with this person. Like, you go out on like a date or something and it's like, oh, hey, so tell me about yourself. And it's like, well, let me tell you, I have a record That's like pages long. I shot heroin on the streets of West Baltimore for 10 plus years. Did I mention I smoked crack?
Just recreationally, though. I mean, it's fine.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, and then you have to explain once you get like a little deeper in it. It's like, well, I'm not that person anymore, but I have to attend, meetings or be involved with my recovery, on a pretty regular basis in order to maintain me not ever going back to that place. So I've never experienced that, but I can see that being a challenge in a relationship with somebody who's not in recovery.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, my wife has her home group. I have my home group. We both go. When I go, obviously, she's going to have the kids, when she goes
And I see you guys at meetings apart more than I see you together.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And sometimes we will go together, but
yeah,
we got the
like
kids.
Anniversaries and
we
shit.
got the kids. It's difficult because
it's juggling.
Yeah. So we have kids 9, 6, and 2. The 2-year-old, he's like coming of age where he's starting to repeat things, and like kids are smart, man. Even if you don't think they're listening, they're listening. So like if we have the kids like in a meeting or whatever, like we'll like put them off in the corner with a set of headphones, an iPad or a tablet, whatever, the phone.
You actually have the good NA kids, because there's good NA kids and there's bad NA kids. Because
no, I only have good NA kids if my wife is there.
Okay,
if I was there with the kids,
that's probably fair.
If I was there with the kids,
I don't think
they would not be good. Trust and believe that, because like
that.
my wife she's the boss,
dude.
Everybody listens to the boss.
Dude, the NA moms, dude, they have a fucking look, because like I'll play with kids in the meeting. Like I don't give a fuck, and then they'll just stare at me. I'm like, I fucked up.
Oh, shit, we'd be like, yeah, go ahead, take them. Take them. Go play ball in the hallway with them. But it's actually, because it's hard to, actually focus on a meeting when you have the kids in the meeting.
Yeah.
But no, the kids are good. They're quiet. They're not too crazy.
Okay.
No. But did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if it like kind of went off in the left field on that.
I think it.
The challenges of it. I just remember the question, by the way.
Yeah.
So the challenges of dating somebody in recovery, like I don't really have any with it, but the benefits of it is good.
You've never dealt with a relapse before.
No, not in a relationship.
Not in a relationship with anyone in recovery.
No, thank God. So my wife has 8 years.
Yeah. No, I know how much. I know she's got.
So she is 8. I have 5.
Tara and I have the same amount of clean time.
I guess so.
Really?
I guess so.
I totally thought she had more. Like she
definitely has more, doesn't?
No, she's just celebrated 8. She's in her 9th year now.
Huh.
Okay, so
watch her check the fuck out of me when I get home.
She is a little.
You don't even know how much.
She is a little bit ahead of me, but like
No, she's got 8.
dude, she is like light years ahead of me.
Yeah.
I thought she had
like a 10. I
Wait,
thought she
what's
was
her
with
clean
Donnie.
date?
6'9". I don't know the year, but
No way, dude. She did not have only a month more than me when I.
So it would be
around.
6'9", 2012.
12. She has to be 11.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought she had a year at least when I
No,
came.
she's gonna celebrate 9 this year.
She's gonna celebrate 9 this year. So she's 2011. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, she has.
Yeah, she would have had a year when I came in.
She has 15 months on me. Okay,
Yeah.
it seems like 3 years.
This
This was all very difficult.
Solid props to you,
Time
Tara.
flies, man.
Oh, I know, it's fucking nuts.
Time flies.
Yeah, I'm close to a fucking decade.
When
like,
you're
that's
living,
nuts.
when you're living life, man, time flies. Like I literally, I had a birthday and I was like, somebody asked me, they're like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm 32." They're like, "Oh yeah, you're 87, baby," and I was like, "No, I'm born 86." And they're like, "That would make you 33,
bud.
And I'm like, "Holy shit!"
I just lost a year of my life.
I know. Like I'm fucking 33. Like, my wife just turned 35. I'm like, what? This is crazy.
All right. All right, so I'm going to ask both of you this question, actually, because this is this pertains to both of you. So you're both workaholics. I know you are. Jesus, you fucking yawn at my question?
Go ahead.
You're a son of a bitch.
Go ahead.
Just for that, you can answer second.
Go
So, how do you balance? Like, obviously, like anybody who's not listening, balance is a verb. It's not something you achieve and then you're there. So, how do you maintain balance between work and the rest of your life, your family, your recovery, your snowboarding, your music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with my experience with balance, doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
Okay.
So like I'm my 6th year in business now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into my 6th year, and like for my business, like listen, my phone starts going off at 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes I don't get off the phone until 11 o'clock at night. Some days are quieter than others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love the days where my phone doesn't go off.
Yeah.
I'm just in the field with the guys, you know, whoever, you know, the plumbers, the HVAC guys, duct guys, whoever it is, you know, and I'm on the job with them, and I got my headphones in. I'm just working with them, you know, and if the phone doesn't ring, like I love it. But there's, you know, I'll get home, and that's when everybody else gets home, like all my customers and all the clients, and of course they're gonna have questions about the progress or a question about how we did this or that and everything. So it's like I'll literally be at the dinner table eating my dinner with my kids and, you know, my wife. Mm-hmm. And like I'll be like on the phone. So like I'm putting things in position this year. You know, like I hired like a secretary. I'm about to start an answering service. So like I can literally come home at 5 o'clock and turn the phone over.
Nice.
Because it messes with it's starting to mess with my spirit, because it's all the time. It's constantly. I'm on the fucking phone, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. Like I'm literally losing time, like, you know, cherished time, like, you know, missing out on experiences and stuff like that. So so it's like, all right, I'm just gonna turn the phone over. But no, the balance thing, man, I just wing it. It's like for me, like I don't have a, like with work, like am I a workaholic? I wouldn't say I'm a workaholic, because, like, honestly, I prefer not to work at all. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
But, like, unfortunately, I'm the owner, so I have to work. I have to answer to everybody. You know, all my guys in the field. I have to answer to my reps, my salesmen. I have to answer to the customers. Everything comes back on me. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't... If you're on the outside looking in and you say, you know, I'm a workaholic, like I can see that. Mm-hmm. You know,
I'm sorry, I wasn't throwing shade.
No. You're not throwing shade, but I mean, like, being a small business owner, man, especially when you're building the business. You know what I mean? It takes a long time for the business to just kind of run itself. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time. And, you know, I've experienced that, and I don't have a business degree. I don't have a college degree in like business administration or anything like that. It was just a good fucking idea, because at the time when I got clean this last time, like, it was hard for me to get a job, but like somebody offered me a subcontracted job, and they were like, you know, open a business so I can write a 1099 to your business, and then from there, you know, everything just fell into place, and like it's been profitable. It's been, you know, growing. It's successful. You know, and but it comes with a lot of time. It does. It really does. Like, I cherish those days where my phone is quiet. Like, I love it. Like, I'm such a like.
Do you turn off the phone on vacation, or can you not even do that?
No, I can't do that. I got crews of guys that work for me, so like I need to be able to answer. I don't have somebody in the field that's like, you know, project manager or something there where I can be like, oh, you know, to the clients, like, oh, hey, I'll be away. Like, but if you need anything, call so and so. You know, you have to build a business at that point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was me for, I'd say, 2 years, just me in a truck by myself. You know, and I'd hire people or bring people on as like, you know, daily labor.
Helpers. Yeah.
As needed. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what the day entailed. And, but now it's like, dude, I got 3 of my own trucks on the road. I got like 6 people, you know, that work for me. And then I got another 6, 7 people that sub from me. And like all the while I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. But it's working.
Yep.
you know, and I'm gonna continue to just do it, man, and build up. But the balance thing, man, there's no fucking balance. Like, I can't control balance. Mm-hmm. Like, when it comes, and it all leads back to like the business thing. You know what I'm saying? The family and the kids and you know, the vacationing, whatever. You know, there's times where I gotta like cancel my drum lesson.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like, oh hey, I'm sorry, but like I fucking forgot and I booked right over top of our appointment. Mm-hmm. It happens pretty regularly. And that was like that's like one of the things of like hiring a secretary to like help with a lot of the stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, workaholic. I guess you could say that. I don't want to be one.
That's the real workaholic. What have you got? How do you balance, Eric?
There is no balance.
Now, I think there can be balance. We've talked about this a lot actually recently.
It's something it's something that needs to be achieved.
It's hard, and like, so when I ran my own business, I did that for 5 years, and with your own business, I mean, yeah, until you get infrastructure built up around you, you're just fucked. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just like no way. Like, I burned myself to the ground because there's always the thought, and it sounds like, Pat, you had a lot more infrastructure than I had built up, but I got to that point where you get to this point, and I think the contractor who's who's working on my house right now is kind of at that point too, where you fall into this like deadly cycle of where it's like you keep accepting gigs because you're worried that you don't know when the next gig will come, but then you just keep fucking up your budget and your time to where like nothing really properly gets done and you just become fucked. And like, I just burned myself out. I was tired of working weekends. I was tired of working nights. I was tired of working 80 plus hours. Even though I probably work over 80 hours now anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. I live by calendars.
I know you do. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone... So I don't talk about this very often. I have 2 calendars. So I have the company I work for, I have that work calendar. And then I also have a podcast recovery calendar, which has David's, like the podcast that we set up, but it also has every time I'm going to be out of town. So my wife knows, because I travel a shit ton for work. Between now and the end of this month, I think I have 9 flights booked. So, I mean, you know, keeping all that stuff up to date. When I wake up in the morning, I have a super solid routine. Like, I eat, I get my coffee, I let my dog out, you know, I do all that. Then I practice Spanish for 20 minutes so I can learn how to speak Spanish. And then
What you got?
Not much.
Okay.
Start basic understanding it,
That's
but
good.
you know, I work out for a half hour. I start getting on calls. I start working. You know, I eat lunch around 11. You know, I try to, if I have the time, I'll like do like some podcast stuff, or I'll maybe meditate. I've been trying to meditate. That shit's hard. I'll work out during the afternoon, like between calls, to like separate the day. Then in the evening, I try to stop by 9. That's my goal.
Yep.
And then I just always constantly like, the thing I constantly do, the podcast has become work.
I know.
It really has.
And you're doing a great job.
I know. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's, but I'm trying to get it to a place where it's automated. So, you know, like I can start doing like more of my fun video stuff. I can start doing like some photography. I want to record a new album.
And anybody who's listening, there's some cool stuff coming in the future.
There's
for
very
podcasts.
cool shit.
Man. There's a whole phase.
But
where
I
we're
would
in the middle of.
say I put 20 to 40 plus hours a week into podcast recovery.
I know.
And then with my job, I put 50 to 70, sometimes 80, depending on the week. Really depends on the week.
Do you live on just like a different time? Do you have 36 hours a day and nobody else does?
No, I'm just efficient with my time.
I know you are.
Like, I don't fuck about.
I know.
Like, you know, I mean, like, I'll wake up on the weekends, like, on Saturdays and Sundays when people are just like, oh, man, I just want to hang out. I'll wake up at the same time I wake up every other day. I will work until 9 o'clock at night. I'll watch an episode of TV and then I'll go to bed and I'll be like, this was an awesome day. Like, oh, sweet. Like, I got all this shit done. And then, like, you know, like the way you've been hanging out with me for long enough now, I'll take breaks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sprinter.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know about you, Pat, but I sprint real fucking hard and then I will
Fall on his face.
but I'll break it up. So like in the summer, I have
Yeah.
10 weekend trips planned.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
right now, we're in the middle of a podcast recovery sprint through March. We have
We're in a sprint.
20-some podcasts in the next 3 weeks.
But we'll chill when it's over, and
Uh-huh.
I like doing it that way because then I can focus on other projects. But I mean, balance, dude. Like
It's life.
it's yeah. But I mean, the other way I look at it is I don't have kids,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that I do what I want to do
You have 4 kids.
before
What are
I
you
have
talking
kids.
about?
Well, I have my fur babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a Twitter question for our
We
man?
do, man.
All right.
So this is our Twitter question. It's a hard one. It comes from Ian Bliss, and it is.
Is that the Ian we had on?
No.
Where's he from?
I don't know. This is from Twitter. I don't know where he's from. But this is for everyone. How do you? And I feel like there'll be some interesting opinions.
I didn't
How-
get to do my thing, but that's fine.
Well, you're the one who
I blew it.
Blew it.
I blew it. It's fine.
How do you address when someone is using and know they are using in a positive way? I will be lied to when I ask her, yet it was on her breath, plain as day.
This is very pointed.
So how do I address
This is-
someone that is using?
Yes, and they are lying to you about their using. In a positive way, unless you don't have a positive way.
So for me, like it when I think about like using, like it's life or death. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm the type of person that would rather walk on your toes than on your grave, right? So I can come across very, very harsh, very very blunt, and like I'm not gonna co-sign no shit, right? I'm not gonna enable anything. So like me personally, because like I'm actually going through this right now with a family member of mine, and and you know like one person in the family like wants to enable her, another person in the family just is like cutting all ties, and then there's me who's like been through it, right? So like the old adage like you can't Dauphine a Dauphine, right? So like I will like call them on all their bullshit. I will tell them everything that they do not want to hear. In speaking truths, you know what I'm saying, and it's very hard because in that situation, there's literally nothing that I can say or do to make that person choose a different way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like me coming to meetings and everything for 10 years. You know, like everybody was telling me, you know, it was very clear to me that, you know, this is how you do it. But like I had to come to that point of desperation to where like I made the decision for myself to change.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. That's just how it is. And so like, you know, in dealing with the one person who wants to like baby enable, you know, co-sign and all that, I'm like, you're not helping. Like you're not helping. You know what I mean? And then there's the other person who's like, fuck them, you know, just fucking who cares, just cut them off and blah blah blah. And then there's me who understands it, you know, and like I intervene, but like I'm not one to like sugarcoat anything. You know what I mean? I speak in the truth, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, some people don't like that. I mean, especially if you're using, they don't like it because they're in denial, you know, or they think they're pulling a fast one on you. And but no, the way I address it is like I come in, I just straight call them on all their bullshit, like with truth, with evidence. You know what I mean? And then after that, it's just like, you know, I end it with like, you know, I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Like let me help you. Like tell me what I can do to help you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But like if like I'm not just gonna sit there and like watch you do this to yourself, because that could be harmful to me in my recovery. So like I'm just gonna like come in, I'm gonna swoop in, I'm gonna like let you know that I do care, but I'm also gonna let you know that I don't care about your fucking feelings because I care. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I can be very abrasive with people like that, and it's anybody, because at the end of the day, like the disease of addiction is after your life. That's the only thing that it wants. You know, it wants that, and it wants you to be miserable as hell. You know, for as long as possible. But the end result is death. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't want to see anybody die. I've experienced that side for a long time, so I can understand it. But like I've experienced this side also, and I understand that it's not a decision that I can make for someone.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I can do for that person is maintain my recovery and show them that there is another way. You know, and it's hard, man. It goes back to that powerless piece, the acceptance piece in step one. It's very hard, especially if it's someone like, you know, I'm pretty sure Ian just mentioned that, you know, it's somebody close to him. It has to be, because he's, you know, they're denying it or smelling it on the breath and everything. So it's hard. It's very, very hard when it's somebody close to you, you know, somebody that you care about. And like the thing like about recovery, like you come in from living, you know, we get to experience two lives. You know what I'm saying? We get to experience the destruction and all the chaos and all the bullshit in our using. But then we come to recovery and we have a sense of gratitude and appreciation for life. So like in knowing, like having experienced both sides of that, it like you care for everybody. Like I do.
Yeah.
I care for everybody. You know what I mean? Now don't get me wrong. There's a handful of people that I can't stand, but don't think for 1 minute that even though I don't like that person or I don't care for them, I don't like what they're doing, like I will help that person. You know what I'm saying? I will. And like that's like the thing, like, so like having experienced like both sides of it, for me, when I come into a situation like that, it's just like, look, like you can't lie to me. Like,
oh yeah,
you can't bullshit me. You can't dope feed me. Like, because everything that you're doing right now, like I patented that shit years ago. Like I own the copyrights to that fucking excuse. You know what I'm saying? So like if the evidence is like very, very clear in like their behaviors and everything in their daily lives and whatnot, it's just like, look, you might be able to pull the blinders on like this person over here, but like you can't sit here and tell me that you're not fucking up. And I try to do it, in a loving and caring way. But like at the end of the day, like I'm not throwing a cut on it.
You love them and not what they're doing.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not throwing any cut on it. I'm gonna tell you everything you do not want to hear. So trust and believe me, like people that are like that know me, like they're not even gonna come at me with that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not gonna lie to me.
Yeah.
You know, most people, and if they try, I'm calling you straight the fuck out. I'm calling you out because like I care about your life. You know, I'm not as much concerned in that situation about your feelings and how I make you feel, because what you're expecting from me is for me to like co-sign your bullshit and like agree with you that you're not who you're saying you are. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's a hard position to be in, because like, especially when like you care about the person, you know, like it could be a family member, it could be a best friend, it could be a spouse, it could be, you know, one of your children. You know, and like nobody wants to see anybody go through what we've lived through, man. It's a horrible place to be at. And And so it's very difficult, to watch somebody go through it, and knowing knowing that you really can't do anything for them. It's very difficult, and like I said, I'm experiencing that right now, going through it.
Yeah.
Like, and it makes me feel like helpless, but at the end of the day, that's, I'm powerless over it. Because nobody did it nobody but me did it for me.
And like what you just said is actually something that Herb has kind of flipped around on me. He was like, now you know what your parents felt like.
Yep.
And it was like, holy shit. Like once I got that sort of taste, it was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Being on this side of the street.
Yep. And like to answer Ian, I'm going to do sort of like a three perspective type thing. My perspective of it and how I deal with it, honestly, like it makes me angry. Like, I've seen it in several of our friends. I saw it with 3 sponsee brothers. I ended up burying 2 of them. So every time we would get together and have our like sponsorship get-togethers, and they would talk about the same shit, like just the same pattern of behavior, and like everybody like either they would openly admit that they're like that they got high hours before this, or they're high right now, or whatever. None of us would mince, just like you said, none of us would mince words with them. And they're like, well, what the fuck are you willing to do? Like, we're doing what we can do. Like, you're always welcome here. We love you. We're giving you our time, which is most valuable. We're giving you our advice, and we're literally showing you tools that you can help yourself to get out of where you are. But like, just like you said, it's up to that person. There's nothing any of us can do. We cannot get anybody clean. All we can do is show you the door. You got to walk through it. So,
and it's and like in dealing with a person who is obviously inebriated, high,
there's not much you're gonna get done.
Whatever. You got to realize that you're not talking to that person. You're talking to the disease, and the disease will have you with your blinders on. It'll have you with this facade built up around you that, like, whatever, and it's very hard to get something across to an individual who is not in the right state of mind. It's very difficult. Like I remember, like I used to call my sponsor. This is years and years ago. I would call my sponsor and be like, "Oh my god, I used," and he would hang the phone up on me.
Yeah.
And like I text him like, "Why the fuck did you hang up the phone on me?" He's like, "Well, number one, you should have called me before you used. Number two, you're high right now, and I'm talking to the disease. I don't want to talk to the disease. I want to talk to Pat." And it makes sense now, but like being in that position back then, it was like, wow, like I fucking hit this dude to help me out. And it's like, like like I get it now, because like if I really wanted this dude to help me, like I would have called him before I made that decision. And so like I would, get a little upset, get my little baby feelings hurt over that. And it's a difficult position to be in, because like in certain situations, like if you like turn your back on somebody, or if you're like very upfront with somebody and very abrasive and whatnot, in turn that it could go either way.
It's gonna go 50-50.
It could go either way. It's a catch-22. Like if you just say you got somebody living in your house, right, and they're using or whatever, and you're like, hey, look, you gotta fucking kick rocks. You gotta get the fuck out of here. That could lead them to a point of where they're like, oh my god, I fucked my life up. I have nowhere to live. Like, let me straighten my life out and get my life back. Or it could hurt them, and it could drive them into a deeper part of their disease.
Yeah.
And the sad thing about it is like they might not make it back. So it's like one of those things. It's less like, what do I do? Do I allow them to stay here, like, and continue to use, or do I kick them out on the street and hope for the best? Like it's one of those things, man. It's just like, and prayer is a big thing, just whatever the foxhole prayer is, just like, please watch over them, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? And like you could, if it went south, you could beat yourself up.
Yep.
And then now I'm dealing with these feelings of like, oh, I could have helped them, and it's like how much am I willing to help? Like, before, like, what is helping? Where's the fine line between helping and enabling?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And actually, like,
it's hard, man.
yeah,
It's hard.
Talking about that, like, the other, like, point of view I wanted to go with, like, aside for people in recovery, I had to deal with that twice with my wife. And one time she came home, like, way later, and what we referenced earlier in the podcast, she's not in recovery, blah blah blah, she's allowed to drink, there's nothing in the house, like, her life is her life. Luckily I'm fortunate, she drinks once every 6 months, has two,
Occasionally.
comes home, like, she's a normie, she smoked pot 3 times in her life, like, it's just, that's her, and like, that's what she can do. And she went out with her family was in town, and she came back at like 3:30, 4 in the fucking morning, like, I hadn't heard a word from her since she left, blah blah blah. I'm in bed, she comes home, the smell of her woke me up. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, but it's 3:30 in the morning. I am not starting this right now. So the next day, I fucking, like, I'll be honest, that was one of the 3 times I have, like, actively yelled at my wife. I was like, this is completely fucking unacceptable. I was like, besides, like, she was, and again, she was like, oh, I wasn't drunk, I got alcohol spilled on me, blah, 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 whatever. And I wasn't trying to, the only behavior that I wanted her to change, that she could have changed, was because it was all the way up in Harford County. It was an hour away. I was like, you drove an hour smelling like that? I was like, what if you got pulled over for a fucking taillight? You're going to fucking jail. Then you want to make that fucking phone call to me at 3 in the morning saying my fiance is in fucking jail? I was like, that is the last conversation you want to fucking have. I was like, I don't give a shit if it was 3:30 in the morning and you were in Philadelphia. I will drive 2 hours to fucking come and get you. You can, like, the driving reeking like alcohol was completely unacceptable. Like, I was like, that cannot happen. I was like, you can drink. That's your fucking prerogative. Like, that's fine. You can even come
Drink
home.
one for me.
Yeah, you can exactly. You can even come home drunk. That's your prerogative. But if you drive drunk, I was like, that's unacceptable. I was like, I'm your fiance, now husband. Like, if you need to call me because maybe one night you had a couple too many, that's okay. I will come pick you the fuck up, but you cannot drive like this ever again. But, like, she was receptive after she was done crying. But it's all about saying what you mean, but not saying it too meanly. But yeah, that was one of the 3 times I actively yelled at my wife, and I got my point across because it's never happened again. What about you, Eric?
So, I haven't done a share yet, so I guess one day we'll do my story. But in the early days of my wife and my relationship, she relapsed a lot. Mm-hmm. And she lied a lot. Mm-hmm. So I know what it's like. I know what someone looks like when they take benzos. I know what someone looks like when they shoot dope. Like, I shot dope. I like benzos. I like, those are 2 of my favorite drugs. So it's kind of like there's a very thin line, because I know how I would respond to someone. Mm-hmm. I don't respond well to take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. I don't respond well to that sort of shit. Mm-hmm. So, I'm trying to think. I have friends that I still hang out with who are not in recovery, but probably belong in recovery. And, I'm like, I make myself very available to them. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, hey, man, I can smell the alcohol coming out of your pores. How you doing? Trying to make light of it. Mm-hmm. Where, the smell. My God, the fucking smell, dude. But, like, just being like, hey, like, I care about you. I want to see that like you do well. I want to see that your life is in the right direction. I'm not going to tell you you should go anywhere. Like you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Because I mean, I can't force you to do anything. Mm-hmm. But like there are options if you want to, do that, and I'm willing to help. Mm-hmm. If you want to go to an AA meeting, I'll take you to an AA meeting. If you want to go to an NA meeting, I'll take you to an NA meeting. If you want to go to Smart Recovery, if you want to like fucking do yoga, we can do that too. I don't care, but let me know when you're ready. You're ready, and I'll help. Mm-hmm. But like, I'll be straightforward, but I'll always be nice. Mm-hmm. Always. And I know if you're getting high. There's very few times where I feel like I've been duped. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how many. I don't even think it's. I couldn't even count on one hand. Like I can tell when someone's fucked up.
Matt fooled me a couple times. Like I had the thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. And then that's just me. Like I'm like, yeah, he's acting fucking squirrely as shit, but
he's just a flake.
Matt's a flaky dude. So I was like, those times I just chalked it up to that.
No, I mean,
he fooled me twice.
It's my wife can't fool me. She knows that.
I hope not.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm powerless over people, and I can't control them. Like, it's a lot of step 1 and step 3. Like that is a lot of like the people relapsing and not chasing them. Mm-hmm. I make myself available, and I show that I am an example. So I have like friends.
Stay in position.
You know what I mean? Like I'm here. You have my number. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you're not going to tell me that it's bad? I can tell it's bad. I can smell it's bad. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between like someone just having a drink and someone drinking alcoholically.
Yeah.
There is a real smell difference.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Where it's just like, I don't know. I mean,
it's
like,
coming
there's
through
a
your
difference
skin.
between your mouth, like, having alcohol in your breath and then coming through your pores.
Yes. Like smelling them as they're walking by. You're like, oh.
But yeah, I mean, just always making yourself available to help. Yeah. Like, that's just all. And not I don't know. I don't force it.
That's how you round it off
that's
on the
just
end.
Me.
I think for all of us, and be like, just you have to avail your help to them.
Yeah.
You have to let them know that like they're not alone in this, and they're like, when you want to take the step toward help, I will take the next step with you. And that's what it's all about.
All right.
Doing it together. But
Stay in position.
Mm-hmm. That's all we got. So we would like to thank our guest, Pat, for joining us tonight.
Woo! Yay!
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. All right. Here at Podcast Recovery, we are aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. Accessibility and convenience of helpful services is paramount to combating addiction. We work to bring the message of recovery to every addict, wherever and whenever it is needed. We believe that a powerful voice of recovery should be obtainable, practical, and at the touch of a button. Every addict deserves to hear a message of hope, and Podcast Recovery is here to provide it. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out our website, podcastrecovery.com. Like, share, subscribe. Come join us on the pod. Share your story. But most importantly, everybody out there, stay safe and stay clean.